Last weekend, I made some friends and we had like very deep conversation about love. That's made me think about the idea of collecting stories of love or love stories and share them with others as a podcast. So the idea of the love stories podcast or the love stories project came to my mind, and I made the first recording this weekend, and I'm willing to continue. I don't know what name the podcast will take, but it's gonna contain a lot of love stories from around the world.
Hi, my name's Tom Eitan Tashi. I'm 32 years old. I'm from Chicago, and this is my love story. So about 2 years ago, I was on vacation in Colombia. And while I was there, I met a woman. We never physically met. We met online through one of these apps, and it was towards the end of my trip. And we never physically met, but we started a conversation. And at first, I didn't think of anything of it. I had no intention to return to Colombia, and I just thought that I was getting to know a person. And after some time, we realized that we have a connection, and this is actually a very interesting person, and I wanted to get to know her more. And 8 months later, we met for the first time in person. And once we met in person, we hit it off. We started to think, wow, this is actually something here. This is something that should be explored. And so I went to Colombia, and I went and I visited her family, and 2 months later she came to the US to come visit me in Chicago and meet my family, and it went really well, and it was going very well. We had the one problem, though, that we don't live in the same place. She's a Colombian citizen, and I live in the U.S. My life is in the U.S. My family, my work, my friends, we have lives in different places. So that was, the one issue. And at one point, she got a job with an NGO, with an Israeli NGO. And she decided to take this job. So she moved to Israel in April. And me, I had my life in Chicago. She's 26, I'm 32. I didn't want to pick up and start my life over and have to start over from scratch. And so we broke up. And we broke up in April, thinking that, I could find another love, And I dated, actually. I dated for 3 months. But that entire time I was very depressed. And I didn't know why I was depressed. I just, knew that I didn't feel whole. And, it's at some point I made a realization that I can't live without this girl. I can't live without her. By that time, she had moved. She was no longer living in Israel. She was working for the NGO, but now she was stationed in Sierra Leone, West Africa, a very poor country, and I can't really get there very easily. It's hard to get there. But we continued a conversation. At that point, she'd also moved on. She had suffered a lot in the breakup. She never wanted to break up. In fact, we actually were supposed to stay together. Originally we were supposed to stay together and do a long-distance relationship. But, very quickly I realized I didn't want to have a long-distance relationship. I wanted to be with somebody, in person. And I was also very naive, I was very naive to think that connections are easy to find. I thought, oh yeah, I'll fall in love again. I thought it'll be easy, my heart will recover and I'll fall in love again. And I never did. I dated, actually in the 3-4 months, I dated like 10, 12 women, and it couldn't have anything with any of them. They were nice people, good people, but it was 1 date, 2 dates, and then at some point I realized, you can't say the same words again to somebody. You can't. It's not like you can just open your heart again. So I started going about trying to win her back. And by that time, she had been very upset with me from the breakup. And she didn't want to get back together. She didn't trust me that I wouldn't break her heart again. And so, for the past 4 months, this is January now, I've been from like August until December, I was trying to convince her to get back together with me, that, I'm sincere and that my intentions are good intentions and, honest intentions. Telling that to her family and telling it to a Colombian family, oof, let me tell you, very difficult, very, very difficult. But, I'm willing to endure the difficulty and to, make it right, and it's not easy to make it right. I know it will take time, but I'm doing everything I can. So I came to visit her. She had holidays from her NGO, and she had to go back to the main office and work a little bit. So I went to visit her, and professed this love that I still have for her, and try to show her the honesty of my intentions. And I think it worked. She said I can come visit her in Sierra Leone. So I'll go in 2 weeks to go visit her there, and try to make a life together. And that's my love story. And it's it's a complicated one and a complex one, because it's not always a fairy tale. It's sometimes filled with wrong choices and naivety and making mistakes, but it's something that I just feel is right, in every ounce of my being, and something that I want to make work. And I do think it's work, and I'm willing to do the work and the effort to make love and make love work. So that's my love story.
Excellent. And the funny thing is that when we were talking yesterday, you told me like our stories are related, which is not funny at all. Actually, it's dramatic, because everything is there, and people sometimes can miss the greatest opportunity of their life just for being assholes.
Yeah.
So, thank you. If you did enjoy this first episode, or this episode in general, please share and subscribe.